And let's go with it. Okay, so
What are we
the
thinking?
man, I wish this was day two. Oh, do you know how fucking hyped this would have been if Obama's coming off the stage after Michelle, after AOC, after Hillary? Ah, that would have been a banger. That would have been a banger show. We got to be more.
Okay, hold on. I like how you said after Hillary as if that was going to be a good thing. Like,
But I mean, she did get the.
I didn't watch her speech yet.
I
And
watched
I
it.
kind of don't want to.
I watched it. It was better than Bill's. I'll say that. I'll say that it was better than Bill's. I'm not saying
Damn.
that's. I'm not saying that's a motivator, but I'm saying it was. But for night three, I started watching. I started watching in traffic around 4 o'clock. Uh, I went to go get lunch at the pizza spot, so I got to walk past the convention and get the vibe. And overall, I have to say, as a person who is now going to affirm that this is all fine. This is just okay. I think if you're inside that room, you have been infected with the smile virus and the hype virus. The people who were talking talked about a lot of things to re-jog our memory, because whether we like it or not, all the things that have happened this year, throughout this last presidency with Biden, has been traumatic. We at one point we had the Capitol rush. We've had shootings. We've had an assassination attempt. We've had a president be charged, multiple felonies, 34. Like, so much has happened, and they want to give people a reason to remember. And I'm all for that. But for people like me, Yag, you guys, who are critically online all the time, this doesn't really help us move the needle. It doesn't give me a better talking point. Tomorrow, when I'm debating with some dickhead in my comment section about why the DNC is better, I'm not going to have policy to point to. So I am truly interested, and dare I say, kind of disappointed that we're 3 nights into this and we do not have an active mindset of moving forward. All this talk of prosperity, all this talk about love and hope and giving us the what we need. What are you going to do? And how the fuck are you going to do it without a complete House and Senate? Have we talked about that? Because as much as we're talking about the presidency, if the House and Senate aren't unified in a direction, we're going to be in gridlock hell. 13 laws were passed, bills, in the whole entire presidency. The Supreme Court changed more laws than Congress for the first time in I don't know when. So for me, this is mind-numbingly basic. It's beyond
Yeah.
reproach, right? This doesn't move the needle. This didn't help anybody in any direction. It's not to say that they didn't do a good job. Great presentation, great execution. You got the people going. But did you get any new people going? And I think the answer is no. Day 3. And that's sad.
Well, I don't know if the DNC is necessarily for recruiting new voters, though. Like, it's specifically the convention for Democrats, though. Like, it's about reaffirming your stances, right?
Okay. The thing
Like,
that
I definitely agree that, like, they're not getting anyone with this, obviously. Like, everyone that was going to vote for them was already going to vote for them, and they're here at the DNC.
but you want to know what I think is a missed
But I
opportunity?
don't think...
The people outside. The people outside protesting. You
Yeah,
you
for sure.
you didn't even successfully get people who came and said we won't vote for you even though we fuck with you. And that's just because they don't want
Yeah.
to tarnish the night with obligatory conversation about war. And I get that. But I also don't understand how you're not prepared to have that conversation.
The funny part about this is, like, the uncommitted movement has been trying to get a speaker at the DNC. Like all of these, like day 1, day 2, and today day 3 as well, right? And the Harris team just either ignored them or just said no straight up.
Well, I think
Which like, we,
go ahead.
it kind of shows, like, I think remember how yesterday I was saying that like they want to look like they're showing dissent, but they're obviously not tolerant of it if they're not going to accept speakers that are uncommitted. What is this?
Church?
What is happening?
Oh, wait.
CTU President Stacey Davis Gates, walking past the childhood home of Senator Carol Moseley Bronze, I know that women from the 6th Ward on the south side of Chicago have changed the world.
Bro,
On the
it's
eve
over.
of the first black woman receiving nomination for the
He's a
President
pastor.
of the
Yeah.
United States,
He's a
God,
pastor.
we are ready
He's
to fight
doing
for
the
freedom.
prayer.
Is it time for prayer?
Yeah, it's the prayer time. Okay, keep going. We don't need this shit.
Yeah. Where was I?
You were talking about not having somebody to
right, yeah.
represent them.
Yeah. So, like, I think it just kind of shows that, like, well, I don't know really, because maybe they just think that having like Hassan there is enough of a representation. You know what I mean? Because
I mean, Mr. 9/11 was meant to happen. It does bring that, but I think I like your. Hey, thanks for the follow, Grant. I think I do like the idea that they are just trying to show dissent, so it can be like, yeah, we got some pushback. We got a lot of pushback and shit like that. We got a bunch of pushback, but therein lies like the problem, because there's not enough of those voters for it to matter. And I'm gonna keep it real. If for the protesters outside who are one issue voters and don't vote, and we lose if the Democrats lose, you look dumb. There's no aspect of this where you can stand proudly and say, "See, I made a difference." You lose. You outright lose. So do I mean, unless you think I'm wrong there, because like one issue voters for me aren't practical, especially when you have so much more to lose.
right, but I don't think they're even like necessarily one issue voters. I think like they are Democrats. That's the whole point, is that like we were going to vote for you, but you are not delivering on, like, you are supposed to like represent us, but you are not doing what we want you to, and you won our votes. So I don't think they're one issue voters necessarily, because like they were already like Democrats to begin with. They weren't like someone that the Democrats were campaigning to. You know what I mean? Like they weren't trying to get their votes. Now they're trying to get their votes back, if that makes sense. Because like that like my conspiracy theory mind is still like trying to go back to the Walz pick, and like I still firmly believe that like a key reason why they picked Walz was to regain some of the trust that Minnesota lost because of Gaza.
Well, speaking of some of the trust, who I mean, I feel like it's a fair thing to say Walz was probably the most hype person talking. Yeah. Who do you, besides Walz, who else had a great performance on day 3?
It's hard to say because they were all just kind of dead. I like Corey as a presenter though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, real good pick on that. Get his face out there. You definitely need to get his face and his personality out there. Yeah. But I'm gonna probably go a little bit left here. I think Oprah did great. That Tessa talk captivated the crowd, and for a split second,
almost believed her.
Almost believed her. Like, yo, you're a decent person. No, I'm just playing. Like, she's incredible. She's incredibly incredibly approachable for that generation. But for her to speak on something like that transcends, like, she was alive. That person died 6 weeks ago, and they were both born on the same day, type shit. So like, I definitely appreciate that conversation. But we're gonna keep it real. Amanda, who I tweeted earlier, was my favorite speech. That was my favorite speech. Hey, bro. Look.
Hey, bro. Okay.
I'm trying. You want to come to a wedding or not? All right, that's what I thought. What is something that you wish you heard more of, though? What did you want to hear more of?
I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record at this point, right?
Mm.
But like, well, I guess they kind of hit it. Like I was saying earlier with the family of the hostage, right?
Yeah.
Like they did. It was kind of like interesting, a bit refreshing to see them talk not just about how Israel is like the most moral army in the world or whatever the fuck, right? Like it's clear that they're no longer like at least publicly facing the Dem are no longer like taking Israel's every word as fact.
Mm. Okay.
But
yeah.
a bit more like on a bit more empathy towards Palestinians would have been nice, I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm gonna take the approach here that something that's dropped off the face of the planet. Young people affording their lives. Our birth rates are down, and our people aren't going to be able to buy homes. You know, these are all things and factors that are concerning everyday Americans. Milk is $6.54 in some states, shit like that. Gas is $5.39. Like, talking about the real hardships of people, because and this is the reason why it's so important, is because we already established Americans are very one-sided. We will not take 5 seconds to think about someone else. So if you give us fewer things to worry about internally, we can start looking outward, right? I think a lot more people become gracious when they have less things to worry about. So I just want to hear a plan. I desperately want to hear a plan.
Which I think lends credence to the theory that we were talking about earlier, that this was like today was the event for like the old heads.
Yeah.
Which they like didn't talk about it much, because like yesterday, though to be fair, it was just Bernie, but like yesterday Bernie did go on his usual rants about prices, right?
Prices, yeah. Like, I remember that.
He talked about fucking Big Egg, like come on.
Yeah. Yeah. The conspiracy theory about Big Egg. Then I guess another thing that comes to mind here is, and maybe I'm sort of a nihilist. I don't know at this point. What do you think the message tomorrow has to be? What makes tomorrow, like day 2 is level 1 right now, is the best. So what do they got to do tomorrow to really bring this shit in?
Well, they gotta get her hyped on Adderall for sure, because tomorrow she's gonna be she has to.
Have you seen
like,
any of her
she has to
live?
be. I have.
Okay,
and,
okay.
Oh my god. Well, okay.
Really?
So okay.
Because I haven't, so I'm listening to you.
To be fair to her, the rallies she did after picking Walz, they had good energy, but I wonder how much of that is because of Walz necessarily. But like even when she was speaking, like the crowd was fucking like going wild actually. Yeah. Which is crazy, because this is Kamala Harris we're talking about.
Yeah.
And Kamala Harris is famously a charisma black hole. Absolutely rizzless, right? So the fact that she was able to pull that off makes me wonder, like, is she like changing her speeches, or is it purely because of Walz? But whatever she did on those rallies, she has to do that 10 times over tomorrow.
Well, two
because,
one thing for sure,
because the crowd was already dying. The crowd was already dying out tonight. I think, like before Walz came in, like it was a good decision. Like I said earlier, like it was a good decision to put Pete Buttigieg like almost dead last, because he is also absolutely rizzless and absolutely uncharismatic, and I hate him so much. Like even like all his corporate shit notwithstanding, like I just hate him as a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. And you want to something that I believe Obama's speechwriter is in her camp now. But for what it's worth, granted, he did have a good daily showing, but I feel like he was feeding off the energy of a third person, of a second person. He's on his own. He doesn't stand on firm ground. Another thing that I really, and maybe this is, and I called it, and maybe I called this wrong. I said it was the left of our party submitting, when in actuality this is a sign of our party moving further to the left, because Bernie being able to talk prime time, AOC being able to talk prime time, give credence to their lenient, like their underbelly language, which they might be able to back up in the next few weeks. Like, it's gonna be super.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Like, they're definitely, at least performatively, like we don't know if they're actually going to be moving towards that in earnest come like November 5th and the Senate, or whatever the fuck represent, I don't know, the Congress in like the midterms after, right?
Yeah.
But it is like, this is the part where they're supposed to just like say things to get people moving and electrified about stuff. And the fact that they, as you said, had AOC and Bernie like talk about fucking like food and drug prices when almost nobody else has been.
Nobody
is good. It's good. It's good politics. It's good politics for sure.
If for the DNC to have 4 days, a week of uninterrupted fame and glam, I really do enjoy it. Do we think, moving forward, what do you think the dynamic is going to be? Both conventions will be done. We know who's on the ticket. Do you think, like, if tomorrow goes as at least as well as tonight, I don't think they're going to match the energy of Tuesday. It's kind of crazy that wasn't the last night. It's almost unconscionable, but I think Kamala's gonna do great tomorrow. She's gonna have all eyes on her. This is gonna be the first time I've seen her live. Every time I've seen her record it, I'm probably not gonna watch this live tomorrow. But like, once again, it's 10:30 when they finish, so it's just like, these are late events. So I'm super interested to see, but like, I for the life of me, dare I say, I just want to hear the policies at the point. We've gotten past that. And another thing that I think would be super interesting to see is how like the people's opinions. What are the people in those crowds feeling? Because we're not there, so we don't know what they're feeling and seeing. And I can only imagine being a fly on some of those backroom conversations. Another thing that's super important that I think needs to be paid attention to: the gubernatorial races, the Senate races, all congressional races. Like, it means nothing if she wins and has no teeth to fight back with, because Congress is in a deadlock.
For sure. I mean, unless she decides to go ham on like presidential orders, but I don't think she has the guts for it.
And you want to know something that's super interesting? She has every opportunity to go against the grain. If she went against the grain of we've seen Trump do it in the most horrendous way. If she said, fuck it, we're doing this, and until Congress can figure out how to stop me, we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if
she's not going to be, because like, she is a Democratic nominee, she is a Democratic candidate, and the Democrats are famous for their like adversity to doing anything, really. So
it's crazy because they were bragging about the border bill, and it's great to know that they would have had a deal on board, but they were bragging about how if this was a Republican, it would have passed with flying colors. That's not what are you listening to yourself?
Oh God, I hated the border shit so much. Like, when, I don't remember who it was, but the speaker tonight, I think it was before we came on.
It was the officer, that cop.
It was the guy before him. No, it was the guy before him that said this. Actually, it was the Republican guy, I think.
Him too.
That said, like, Jeff Duncan. That said, like, we didn't pass the bill. Like, we had it wasn't him then. But in any case, like, there was a guy that was saying that, like, we could have passed this bill. Like, a Republican told me that, like, if it, like, we can pass this bill, like, bipartisan if it wasn't for Trump. And I'm like, that is, like, that whoever that Republican is, like, was such a grifter and a liar, because, like, that bill, like, even with all of the concessions that Biden made on that bill to the Republicans, which is already fucking nuts, by the way, it would have never passed. Like, I think that Republican was either he made that guy up, which is the more likely scenario, or whoever that guy was already having like second thoughts about being a Republican, because that bill would never have survived, because there is not enough concessions to the Republicans, because Republicans' border policy is the only Republican border policy is stop them, like literally just fucking kill them on sight. That's the only policy that they will ever agree to.
We're talking about Texas governor who
there is never going to be bipartisanship on the border.
Yeah, we're talking about a Texas governor who put buoys out to drown people trying to come across, and it's no secret. This is a legitimate stat you can look up. The border security, ICE, all of them have the stats. Look them up. It's there. All of the drugs come in through planes, through shipping docks.
Yeah,
like people who have passes, like literal IDs and everything checked in, and they'll have a car on their a car that they're shipping over where all the door panels have been ripped out and drugs are packed in there. And they're notoriously the same people that overstay their visa the most. Like the farmers in Georgia literally camp out there for 3 days and can't wait to cash their check and go home. Where that $600 makes them a king or queen for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's one of the weirder narratives, and it's just one of those things where like these conversations aren't even happening at a high level. So how do you expect your intelligent voters to convey your platform if you yourself can't convey it, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
and how much of this should we be responsible of?
Yeah, they keep talking about this bill that they couldn't pass because of Trump or whatever the fuck, but none of them can ever define it, because they had to do so many edits to it because the Republicans just wouldn't accept it. And I don't understand. Okay, the one thing I don't understand is why they even like did the bill to begin with, because the whole premise of the bill is just to like, okay, maybe we can kill 20% more immigrants. Like literally that is the only fucking stipulation in the bill. They did not have to do this at all, because the parts that are supposedly like good quote unquote immigration policy for the Democrats, which is like let more immigrants in or whatever the fuck, they were negligible. Literally this bill was only to make like the hardline Republicans in the fucking Senate go like, okay, fine, maybe we'll let you have this. So it's like crazy that they are trying to picture this bill as something that would have been genuinely good policy, because it literally wasn't going to be. It wasn't going to change shit except you were going to kill more migrants.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, and it's just to show a flip flop here. Just to show a flip flop. Obama shed a fucking tear because of the border crisis. He shed a tear, and that same party is trying to build more of those things that made him tear up. It's the inconsistency for me. They
were building back the fucking wall, bro. They're continuing to build the wall.
In all fairness, the money allocated for it had a no return clause on it, so they can't use the money for anything else.
That's awesome, man. The wall's still being built, though.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that like, and they know that no one in Congress would ever fight back on it. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah. I can't knock them. Like, okay, it gets people working with American flag on their arm or badge or whatever. Okay, like those are the things I can't. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you're a dickhead, but I'm in front of my grandma, so I can't say that. Like, you're lucky. You lucky Grams here.
And the funny part is, too, like, we're talking about this bill being championed by fucking Kamala Harris, who famously said, do not come. Like...
Yeah. As her family was an immigrant, a family of immigration. Like, that is black exploitation and black internalized hate if I've ever seen it. Don't come. Bitch,
sure.
y'all came here. That's how y'all got here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So like for me, it's like, but Democrats get very scary when someone calls them a liberal or someone calls them a socialist. Why don't we have the balls to be like, yeah, and what you gonna do about it? I want to give everyone free healthcare, asshole. What's up? What you want to do?
Well, Tim-Walz has a good strategy on it, and that he's like, what? Who cares? I don't care if you call me a socialist or whatever. I'm just here to give kids free lunches, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of a good thing, but like I definitely want it to be destigmatized, where someone can like call themselves a socialist and serve in like Congress or whatever the fuck.
I think Walz has the capacity to do it, and he has the demographic to do it. And I often say this when people talk about elections and stuff like that. Oh, the black communities. No, it has to be an educated white man that does it. I'm sorry. An educated white man has to be the first person to champion. Yeah, let's give everyone fucking free healthcare. Because how you gonna call the most privileged person a government nipple sucker? It just doesn't. It doesn't fit in the lexicon for us. So like,
yeah,
Walz has a rare opportunity, especially when we were talking about this earlier, how the VPs of the past have had a mission and Kamala didn't have one. His mission could very simply be, I want to feed America, or I want to make sure America has health care.
Yeah, she was literally just a goon, like, for Biden. That he just like sent everywhere he wanted. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, go to the border. Like, what is she gonna do at the border, bro? Like,
besides say ooh ah, sock it to me. Like, what do you want? What do you want here? Ooh ah, like it's a wall.
It's like the second most powerful person in the world, and he's like sending her to like Japan or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like what?
I don't know, but I mean, other than that, do you have any closing thoughts here?
The closing thoughts I have is that let Obama speak again tomorrow.
Please, pay him whatever you got.
You know what?
Pay him whatever. You know what?
I feel like they might do that actually.
Pay him whatever.
Like right before her. His appearance fee has got to be fucking crazy at this point.
It's 400,000.
Like he's already.
It was 400,000 in 2021.
That's crazy. It's got to be higher now.
It's got to be higher. God, absolutely. I don't know.
And leave Michelle alone. That's my closing thoughts.
She ruined Michelle alone. She ruined it. I used to be in that camp. Leave her alone. No, she's ruined it. You can't come on with that much riz and think that you're not going to be called to politics. She was too good. I get it.
She's too greedy then, because like she took the deal then. So like I'm sorry, like that's just greed at this point. Like you already have everything. You can go spend the rest of your life with your husband like you fucking wanted, right? Like I feel like this is like a conversation that should have been had like maybe 2016, right? Like, and especially like after her book, it's like, okay, well, you're out of office now. You can catch up on your lost time. Sure, it's going to be like maybe traumatic, right? But you can work it out. You have like this free time now that you didn't have back then. But like here she is appearing at the fucking DNC again. Like, I'm sorry, but like at this point, it's got to be your fault. Like now, you know?
Yeah.
Like I get that she wanted to like relax and whatever the fuck, but like then stop appearing, stop taking the money, stop taking the bag. You already have it. Let him do it. Even.
My question is, maybe does she miss it a little bit? Clearly. I mean, okay. What? Okay. And in her defense, the time she needed him and wanted him, she had a family. Her girls are all grown up. They're out of the house. She's bored.
I mean, it's definitely an element. She definitely does miss it. Like, obviously, like, that shit grows on you, right? Like, here we are doing this.
Here
right?
we are. Here we fucking are.
like she definitely does have that like political tick that we also have,
Yeah.
but from the other side of like she was an unelected quote unquote official, right? She's elected, like she's an elected official because she, you know, she's Barack Obama's husband, but like I really wanted, like, in an alternate universe, she's like after 2015, like after 2015 and 16, like she just kind of like in an alternate universe, she's an MSNBC columnist, and I don't know which future is worse, that or what we have now for her. I mean,
I wouldn't want. I don't want her on. No, because even I don't even watch that shit anymore. But
she is so libbed up. She's so libbed up.
And she literally doesn't have a policy to her name, so you can't say shit about her.
Right? She's literally perfect for the job.
She is. No, what? And I'll leave that there. I think for my closing thoughts on this is, we're about to hit September, October. Was it September, October, November? So we got like less than 90 days, something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's a part of me that's like really like, I'm okay, let's get to it. But so much has to happen before the election. We have to have 2 debates, two with Kamala Harris and Trump, and then JD Vance and Walz. And there's something in the air, and it's pretty infectious. And I'm very curious to know what people who thought 90 days ago about their voting status versus now. As a person who firmly became a voter in the course of that time limit, I can see like where growth has happened. The DNC served its purpose, and I'm proud of the work they did. And they found a way to make their celebrities not be the main attraction, because for what it's worth, we're talking about the people who are going to be making the decisions. And all I think back now is, during the RNC is how, at one point he said he's going to round up a bunch of illegal immigrants and use the police to do it. They know the police, almost to invite that the police know what illegal immigrants look like. We don't have to worry about that. So with all that being said, the DNC served its purpose. I think the Democratic Party has pushed the DNC into a new light with the entertainment value. It is now an entertainment swell, and if this does anything from a financial aspect, advertisers are going to look at the numbers and definitely want people to invest accordingly and be part of the conversation moving forward, right? So I think they did a great job. I think the people who are online too much, like me and you, Yag, we would never have been satisfied with this. I think we would have been the only people not clapping at every given point. Like, we would be sitting there and people are like, these motherfuckers, these aren't Democrats. They're not even clapping when they have the chat. They pause on purpose so you can clap. Then we would just be like, man, if you don't sit your happy-go-lucky ass down. I think we would be.
But I think it's a good point that this is not necessarily for us.
It's not. And I think what Robo said, the debrief was better than watching the paint dry of the DNC. And you got to stick to your strong points. You got to stick to your strong points. But I do want to personally thank you so much for spending 3 hours listening to me ramble, listening to Oprah and a whole bunch of other people. Thank you for your commentary, your insightful thoughts, being nice to Matt in the chat, even though he was our token Republican for tonight. He was playing a Republican tonight for us. He was playing the Republican for us, and we love Matt. And I also want to thank you all so much. Please make sure you follow Yag. Yag brought half of you guys here, so I appreciate you so much. I think this was a great test trial. We definitely got to do the debate. I think Val said we have to do JD, and I don't know if I can handle Trump talking. He might drop the N-word, and I don't want my channel going. I don't want my channel being canceled because he dropped the N-word and I couldn't stop it. Like, I don't want that to be how my channel ends. So we'll think about it. We'll see what goes on. I greatly appreciate you all. sure